It started as just another road trip vlog. Bright sun, a tank full of gas, and endless roads stretching out in every direction. I wasn't looking for adventure, just a quiet weekend escape far away from the city noise. The plan was simple: drive, film, relax. But plans don't mean much when the road decides to take you somewhere you were never meant to go. The first sign something was off was the GPS. It kept spinning, recalculating, like it couldn't decide where I was. I laughed it off, thinking it was bad service. But then the road curved into a small town I'd never seen before. A place so picture-perfect it felt like a movie set. Quaint little houses, freshly painted fences, and every single person I passed had the same wide, almost too perfect smile. At first, it was comforting. A friendly town in the middle of nowhere. Lucky fine, right? Except, when I tried to check the map again, my phone showed nothing. Just a blank gray screen. No Wi-Fi, no signal, no exits. Every road I took circled me back to the same town square. The same clock tower stuck at 3:15. The people never stopped smiling. They waved, they greeted me, but no one ever answered direct questions. When I asked for directions out, they just tilted their heads and said things like, "Why would you want to leave?" Or, "Isn't it perfect here?" Their voices were soft, polite, but their eyes never seemed to blink. I started filming everything, thinking maybe I'd caught the strangest travel story ever. But the footage, it didn't play back right. Some of the faces blurred on camera. Others didn't show up at all. It felt like the town didn't want to be recorded. The deeper I looked, the more wrong it felt. Stores filled with items nobody touched, meals on plates that no one ate, music playing from speakers with no wires. It was like the town was alive, feeding on the act of being watched. By the second day, my car wouldn't start. My phone battery, somehow, stayed stuck at 30%. And every time I walked the streets, more of the townspeople appeared, always smiling, always watching. Then, this morning, I woke up to find a note slipped under my door. Handwritten, in perfect looping letters. It read, "Stop trying to leave. The town has chosen you." The note shook me more than I wanted to admit. I wasn't the type to get spooked easily. I traveled alone plenty of times, stayed in remote villages, even camped deep in forests with no reception. But this place felt different. It wasn't isolation that scared me. It was the sense that someone or something had been waiting for me long before I ever arrived. I kept thinking back to the road. I never planned on stopping here. There were no signs, no markers on the map. It just appeared, as if the town itself had been dropped into my path. I remember driving through thick trees, nothing but silence. Then suddenly, this perfect square with a clock tower, frozen at 3:15. How could a whole town be missing from every map app, every GPS system, unless it was never supposed to be found? That thought stayed with me as I walked the streets again. The townspeople were still there, always smiling. Men in crisp shirts, women in pastel dresses, children with spotless shoes kicking balls that never seemed to get dirty. None of them looked tired, hungry, or even distracted. No one ever broke character. I started wondering if they were even people at all. The strangest thing was how they knew me. Every person I passed greeted me by name. "Good morning, Alex," one woman said, holding a basket of fruit that looked too shiny to be real. I never told anyone my name. Not once. That night, I stayed awake listening for anything: footsteps, whispers, even a car engine. But the town was quiet. Too quiet. Like the kind of silence you only hear in dreams. I replayed my camera footage again, hoping for answers. Instead, I noticed something worse. In one of the clips, I wasn't alone. Just over my shoulder in the corner of the frame, there was a figure standing in the shadows. Tall, unmoving, its smile wider than the rest. But when I looked back in real life, there was nothing there. By the third day, paranoia had settled in. My car still wouldn't start. Every path out led me back to the square. And now, the smiles of the townspeople didn't feel friendly anymore. They felt expectant, like they were waiting for me to play a role in something I didn't understand. I tried asking them questions, real questions like "Where are we?" or "What happens if someone stays too long?" They never gave me answers. Just that same line, repeated again and again, as if rehearsed. The town takes care of its own. But if that's true, what does it want with me? By the fourth day, I couldn't tell if I was losing my mind or if the town was slowly rewriting it. Sleep became impossible. Every time I closed my eyes, I heard faint music, like an old record player spinning somewhere far away. The same melody, soft, haunting, almost like a lullaby. And when I opened my eyes, I could swear the furniture in my room had shifted slightly, like the house itself was breathing. I tried talking to more people, hoping to find anyone, who wasn't trapped in that permanent grin. That's when I met her. A girl about my age, standing near the bakery. Unlike the others, her smile flickered just for a second. It was so brief I thought I imagined it. But then she whispered quickly, almost too quietly to catch, "Don't trust them." Before I could respond, 2 other townsfolk appeared at her side, their smiles wide again, guiding her away as if nothing had happened. She didn't look back. That moment became my obsession. Who was she? Why was she different? Was she trapped, like me, or playing along to survive? I needed answers, but the more I searched, the more the town seemed to close in on me. That night, I found the first locked door. Up until then, every house I passed had been wide open, like they wanted me to wander through their perfect little living rooms. But this one was different, boarded up, sealed, almost like they were hiding something inside. I rattled the knob until I heard footsteps behind me. 2 men stood there, smiling as always, but their eyes were sharper now, less forgiving. "Alex," one of them said, his voice perfectly calm. "That house isn't for you." Something in me snapped then. I realized I wasn't just trapped. I was being watched, tested. Every action measured. Every choice observed. And that raised a terrible question. How far would I go to escape? Would I hurt someone if it meant getting out? Would I betray the only person who seemed different, the girl near the bakery, if it meant saving myself? These thoughts scare me more than the town itself, because deep down I wasn't sure of the answers. Later, when I checked my camera again, I noticed something chilling. In the latest footage, I wasn't just being filmed by my own lens. Another angle appeared, as if someone else was recording me from across the street. I froze, realizing the truth. I wasn't just documenting the town. The town was documenting me. And when I played the clip again, frame by frame, I saw something else in the background, barely visible, standing at the very edge of the square. The same girl. This time, her smile was gone completely. And on the wall behind her, scratched deep into the paint, were words that made my blood run cold. "It's already too late." I couldn't stop replaying the footage. The scratches on the wall. Her face without the smile. The words, "It's already too late." It felt like a warning, but from who? Her? Or the town itself? The next morning, everything was different. The townspeople didn't just greet me anymore. They followed me. Not close enough to touch, but always there. I'd turn down a street, and 10 heads would swivel, walk faster, and their footsteps echoed behind me. No one said a word, just smiles, unblinking, waiting. The girl was gone. I searched every corner, bakery, square, the boarded-up house, but she'd vanished. The silence from her absence was louder than anything else. She had been my one thread of hope. Now it felt like the town had cut it. I told myself to stay calm, think logically. There had to be a way out. So I went back to the roads, every single one of them. East, west, even dirt paths that looked like deer trails. But each one looped back. No matter how far I drove, no matter how many turns I took, I always ended up at the clock tower. The same frozen hands at 3:15. That's when I noticed something I hadn't before. The tower had windows, small, black rectangles near the top. And for just a second, I thought I saw movement inside. A figure, watching. My heart pounded. I couldn't ignore it anymore. Whatever controlled this place, it was in that tower. I knew it. But the townsfolk knew where I was looking. Their smiles tightened. Their heads tilted in unison, like puppets waiting for a cue. And then they started to hum. The same melody I'd been hearing in my dreams. Low at first, then louder. A lullaby, echoing down every street. It shook me so badly I almost dropped my camera. I ran, through the square, past the locked house, straight to the tower doors. But when I reached them, they were already open, like someone had been waiting. Inside was darker than I expected, colder too. Dust covered the floor, but no footprints, none but mine. The humming grew louder, vibrating in the walls, like the building itself was singing. I climbed the stairs, each step creaking, each turn of the spiral tighter than the last. My breathing quickened. My chest felt heavy. Still, I climbed. Halfway up, I stopped. The girl. She was there, crouched in the corner of the landing, her face pale, her eyes wide with terror. No smile this time, just fear. "Don't go up," she whispered. Her voice cracked, desperate. "That's what it wants." Before I could answer, the hum from the townspeople swelled into a chorus outside. Louder, deeper, almost celebratory. I looked past her, up the last set of stairs. A faint glow spilled from the top, pulsing like a heartbeat. My camera caught it. Red, unnatural, alive. And then, silence. The humming stopped. Every sound gone. The only thing left was the tower door above me, slowly creaking open. The girl's warning echoed in my head. "Don't go up. That's what it wants." But I had already climbed, already crossed the point of no return. The glow from the chamber pulled me in, and standing in that red light, I felt as if my choices didn't belong to me anymore. She stepped closer, eyes darting between me and the pulsing journal on the pedestal. Her voice was sharp now, no longer fragile. "You can't touch it," she said, her hand trembling. "That's how it traps you. That's how it trapped me." For the first time, I saw anger behind her fear. She wasn't just warning me. She was desperate, too desperate. I asked her who she really was. She shook her head, biting back tears, then whispered, "The town doesn't just keep people. It recycles them. I've been here before, over and over. Different names, different faces. Each time, it rewrites me." She held out her arms, and I saw faint, glowing scars running down her skin, like erased words bleeding through. The humming outside grew louder. The townspeople's chorus rose, vibrating the walls. My head pounded with it. I reached for the journal, certain it was the key, but before my fingers touched the cover, the girl lunged forward, shoving me back. "Don't," she cried. "You'll replace me." Replace her? My stomach dropped. The town hadn't chosen me randomly. It needed someone new. A trade. One life out, one life in. And she knew it. She hadn't saved me. She had brought me here. Rage cut through the fear. "You led me into this," I said, my voice shaking. "You wanted me to take your place." Her silence was the only confirmation I needed. The betrayal hit harder than the town itself. All the kindness, the flicker of a real expression. It was bait. She hadn't been fighting the town. She'd been fighting for her freedom at my expense. The humming turned into thunder. The clock tower groaned as gears strained against time itself. She grabbed my wrist, her nails digging into my skin. "If you take it, I go free. If you burn it, we both stay. You don't understand. There's no escaping otherwise." I ripped my hand free, heart racing, caught between two impossible choices. Save myself and damn her. Or burn everything and risk becoming part of this nightmare forever. Outside, I could see the townspeople forming a circle around the tower, their smiles stretched wider than humanly possible, their voices rising like a chant. The town was forcing the moment, demanding a decision. And then I noticed something the girl hadn't. The journal wasn't just glowing. The newest page was still being written, the words forming letter by letter. "Alex takes the book." My breath froze. The town wasn't waiting for me to choose. It had already decided. The tower door swung wider with a groan, and the glow inside pulsed like something alive. My body told me to run, but my legs kept climbing, as if the town itself was pulling me upward. The girl's whisper echoed behind me. "That's what it wants." But maybe what it wanted was the only way I'd ever get free. At the top of the stairs, I found a clock's inner chamber. Massive gears stood frozen, caked in rust, but the glow came from the center. A pedestal. On it sat a journal, its leather cover cracked, pages yellowed. The light wasn't natural. It bled from the writing itself, words etched in a script I didn't recognize. Yet somehow I understood them. They were my words, my memories, my life. Every page told my story, from childhood to this very moment. And at the bottom of the last entry, written in that glowing ink, was a line I hadn't yet spoken. "The town has chosen you." I staggered back. My head spun. It wasn't just a trap, it was a cycle. The town didn't capture strangers. It created them. It wrote them into existence. Behind me, the girl's footsteps echoed. She stood in the doorway, trembling, her eyes full of the same fear as before. But now I noticed something else. Her wrists were covered in faint, glowing marks. Words, fading in and out of her skin like ink trying to disappear. She wasn't real either. She was another story the town had written. "You can fight it," she said, voice breaking. "Burn the book." I looked down at the journal, its glow pulsing like a heartbeat. Burn it or accept it. Destroying it might free me, or it might erase me completely. Accepting it meant becoming part of the town forever. My choice. My life. The humming outside began again, louder than ever. The tower shook with their voices. Smiling faces filled the windows, eyes glowing faintly now, waiting. I grabbed the journal. My hands trembled as the ink bled onto my skin, branding me like it had branded her. I could feel my memories slipping, rewriting, twisting. I struck a match. The girl's eyes widened. "Do it." I dropped the flame onto the pages. The book went up instantly, fire roaring brighter than it should have. The gears around me groaned. The clock hands shuddered. For the first time, they moved, tick-tick, past 3:15. The townspeople screamed. Their smiles melted into open mouths as the lullaby twisted into shrieks. The glow engulfed the chamber. My skin burned, my vision blurred. Then everything went dark. When I woke, I was on the road again. My car parked on a shoulder. The forest stretched out on both sides. The town was gone. No clock tower. No square. Just silence. I laughed, shaky, relieved. I was free. But when I checked my camera, the footage told a different story. Frame by frame, I saw myself smiling, wide, unblinking, standing in the square with the others. In the background, on the tower wall, new words scratched into the paint. "It never lets you leave." When the journal burned, the town screamed. The lullaby cracked into 1,000 jagged notes. Gears clanged in the clock tower, and the square below erupted into chaos. The smiling faces twisted, their voices warping, breaking. For a moment, I thought I was burning with them, disappearing into smoke and ash. But when the fire cleared, I was alone. On the road, my car sitting just as I had left it, engine humming as if nothing had happened. The clock tower, the square, the rows of perfect houses, they were gone, swallowed by the trees. The silence was overwhelming. No humming, no smiles, just the sound of my own breath. I wanted to believe I had escaped, that I had beaten the town, that the girl, whoever she truly was, had been wrong. But freedom didn't feel the way I expected. The farther I drove, the heavier it sat on me. Like something was missing. Like I had left a part of myself behind in that place. When I looked in the mirror, my heart stopped. For the briefest second, my reflection smiled back, not the tired, frightened smile I knew, but their smile. Wide, hollow, perfect. And just as quickly, it vanished. That's when I realized the town doesn't trap you with fences or roads. It traps you in your story. Maybe I had burned the book, but some of the ink had already bled into me. I thought about the girl, about her whispered warnings, her betrayal, her desperation to be free. Maybe she had been me once. Maybe, in another version of this cycle, I had been her. The town wasn't just recycling people, it was recycling choices. And sooner or later, someone else would find that perfect little square in the forest. Someone else would see the clock stuck at 3:15. The question is, what will they choose? Will they take the book, burn it, or will they smile and finally give in? I don't know if I'm free. Maybe I never will be. But I do know this. If you're ever driving down an empty road and a town appears out of nowhere, a town not on any map, where everyone is just a little too friendly, a little too perfect, don't stop. Don't explore. Don't film. Just keep driving. Because some towns don't want visitors. They want residents. And once you're chosen, leaving isn't really leaving at all. The town takes care of its own.